So I have my Milk Makeup Remover Cleansing Balm because I like to double cleanse my skin. So I'll use this initially to loosen all of the makeup on my face. I've just got foundation, concealer, eyeliner, and then a bit of eyeshadow. So I don't know how well you're going to see my eyes this time, but my eyes look pretty nice. I'm getting better. This eye's always messed up, but this one's always pretty good. So I don't know how well you're going to see the colours, but I tried to combine a couple of colours because I'm still kind of experimenting with what colours suit my face. So let me know. Do they look nice? Oh my god. Eyes. Eyes. E-Y-E-S. Eyes. Okay, I'm being weird. But yeah. So I got the job. My throat is sounding very strange. I don't know what's happening. Hopefully it's just an infection and not early onset asthma. But anyway, I got the job. I now work at a bookstore, which is absolutely fantastic. So I get to be surrounded by all kinds of literature, including toys for kids, puzzles, that kind of thing, stationery, which is amazing. And I get to meet even cooler customers, which is really great. I've always found that when I was meeting customers at my current/old job, because I haven't fully quit that one, I've just kind of scaled back my hours to part-time so I can work both jobs until I can figure out what's happening with the bookstore hours. I've always found that as soon as I start discussing books, or when people, for example, notice my Shakespeare tattoo, if they know who Shakespeare is, they will then come over and go, oh, is that Shakespeare? And I'm like, yeah, that's Shakespeare. And I'm always taken aback because most people who study Shakespeare at school have found studying Shakespeare to be so incredibly boring and so uninteresting that, like most people, once they leave school, they don't really pick up anything to do with Shakespeare. They don't really go see any plays being performed. They don't really watch any movies or anything. And it's the last time I checked, which was like 2015, 2016. At the time, at least in the UK, a survey had gone out and it came back and stated that about 86% of people who were asked in this particular survey, which was like 86% almost of the entire country, never revisited any form of Shakespeare once they had left school. I wasn't surprised by that figure when I saw it. I was like, this is pretty common, this is pretty standard. And again, it's not because Shakespeare is boring. 9 times out of 10, if you ask a lot of people, why did you find Shakespeare boring when you were at school? A lot of people will just turn around and say it was because it was just taught really bad. Like, it was boring. You have to be really passionate, I find, to be able to teach not just Shakespeare, but like classics. And when you're trying to just get through a curriculum, when you're trying to get through a lesson, when you're trying to get through teaching as many students as possible, as much information as possible within the space of a week, it's pretty understandable that most teachers are probably going to be like, I got to do this like 3 times this week. Do you know what I mean? And then, so if the teacher's not engaged, the students aren't going to be engaged. And then unfortunately, that particular piece of classical work or literature or that particular author or writer is then kind of not really revisited when those students are adults. So I'm one of those people that's very passionate about wanting to sort of have these conversations with people, and I would still like to become a teacher, and then that way I can try and make Shakespeare and other classical literature really interesting to delve into while they're at school, and hopefully inspire students in the future to revisit a lot of these classics when they're much older. But when I'm able to have these deep conversations around literature, and it's usually around different types of literature, not just stories or plays, it's like all kinds of genres. I have, I guess, much deeper connections with people. I don't know what it is. I have more of a connection with someone who can tell me who their favorite poets are, for example, or some of their favorite poems. Or if someone were to turn around to me and say, I don't really read a lot of books, but I'm really into these books to do with self-help or better finance and financial literature and literacy. I can pretty much talk about anything along the lines of learning and development or escapism through literature. It's just my thing. So working in a bookstore right now, honestly, is like the best thing for me mentally and emotionally, and it will be physically as well. Today I had my second day in the job, and while I was still learning to cash people out, and I did so pretty well towards the end, which was actually kind of nice, it was actually very different from a lot of my previous retail roles where it was kind of, they were all very physical jobs. This one so far is actually pretty manageable, and I'm actually quite surprised I'm not panting as much, which is actually a nice welcome break for me. But yeah, it's just been an amazing 2 days. So today and like a few days ago, I had my first day, and it's just been such a nice breath of fresh air. So it's nice to be able to meet customers, talk with customers about books, get into pretty brief and very quick conversations that are based around very deep literary topics, which is nice. And it's also, again, always nice to bump into other British people because it makes me feel less alone in this city. As much as I am embracing Toronto as my home and it's becoming less and less overwhelming as each day goes by, it is always still really nice to bump into other Brits too, and then I ask them, how did you do it? And then they're usually pretty handy and helpful in giving me tips and advice on how they did it. So yeah, positive change, going in the right direction. And while that's all going on, there's still a few things going on, obviously, with our families and stuff. I just got some really bad news about the woman who basically raised me, so I'm kind of in two minds about trying to figure out what I can do about that. There's not really a lot I can do right now other than just kind of stay in contact with everybody back home, and then keeping an eye out on my sister who's having to deal with a lot of this stress, but she's been really good at not sort of like revealing a lot of it to people, so I'm going to stop talking about her there. But yeah, I just need to do my best to try and be supportive and be helpful where possible, because they know that I'm just a phone call away, and I just need to make sure that I'm readily available for my kid sister. So there's a lot of changes underway, a lot of things are underfoot, and I am down for the ride. So I feel like I'm about to embark on a new chapter. And I say that because I'm also about to finish the journal that I'm currently working in. And along with the Hobonichi, I think I'm just not going to use them anymore. And I'm just going to get myself a brand new journal because it's new job, new chapter, new life. And as I step into this new chapter, which will be really good for me, the friends that I've made in this chapter at the moment, I'm bringing them with me, including new friends too. So I feel like I'm actually starting to live my life for the first time in 30 plus years. So here's for the future. Champagne. I don't know. Just enjoy my face. Anyway, that was weird. Now I am going to double cleanse, which I started discussing earlier and then just kind of didn't finish. So I just put on the cleansing balm first, like initially, just to kind of break things up. And then I'll wash that all off. And then once that's gone, I will then use either CeraVe or the Ordinary cleanser. I think I'm going to use CeraVe tonight because I didn't use it yesterday. I tried to use the CeraVe cleanser like every other day rather than every single day because that kind of just works better for my skin. But I love this balm. It's kind of warm, which is kind of nice. And it's from Milk. So this is the second jar because I did get an empty last month. And I was actually quite surprised. I was like, oh my God, my first empty, amazing. So I actually ran out of it last month and it actually lasted quite a few months. I was actually quite surprised because I got this cleansing balm, I want to say about 6 months ago. And that's how long I kept using it until it finally finished. So I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. But there is another cleansing balm that I have seen. I think it's from Green Pharmacy. So I would like to try that one too, because a lot of people highly recommend that one. But I don't know, I just like cleansing balms. And I don't really wear foundation like all over my face every single day. So, but even then I'm still using it like around my eyes because I love to put mascara on. But I don't know, I just find this to be kind of nice. It's just nice and simple. Please continue to be patient, and for those of you who have been so far, thank you so much. That means the world to me. I am absolutely dying to get back into the world of vlogging again. Like, I loved the routine, I loved the habit, and then not having it meant that things just kind of went a little weird. But like I said, I had to deal with a lot of things in the real world, so I'll continue dealing with those, and then I will be back. So, yeah. Things went a little higgledy-piggledy for me, so I decided to quit that last chapter and go headfirst into the next. So that's what I've been doing. Things have been extremely positive for me. I've been learning how to calm down and take my time with things, and I have found that I actually have time to read, which is something that I've been craving for a while. So these are the books that my colleagues had all picked. This is our staff recommends. So have a look, have a gander, and see if there's anything you like. June 8th was the second time that I ever played Dungeons and Dragons with my husband, and it was a lot of fun. It was a continuation of the one shot that we were playing last time back in May, which was like a couple or so weeks previous to this. And during that time, I have been developing my character a little bit more so for myself and perhaps any fictional projects that I may want to sit and write and develop, but more so as well just to sort of understand more of the lore around Dungeons and Dragons as a game. My husband was playing a wizard tabaxi. A tabaxi is basically a humanoid cat person. And since this is also his first game, playing a wizard, at least from my point of view, seemed like a really difficult thing to do. I wouldn't really feel comfortable playing a wizard myself until I had played quite a few sessions. But for him, it was just kind of easy breezy. And this was the second time for him too. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. We'll definitely do again. The guys over at Conspirituality, the podcast, recently launched a book, and I didn't know anything about it until Matthew tweeted about it. So here it is in store. It's ready and available. Get your hands on a copy. What the heck is this? My hair is ready for a collision. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And yet I'm freaking out all at the same time. Just gonna have to do. Just wearing black. Yeah, now we are going to the Scotiabank Arena. See you guys there. Ooh. Oh. I was kidding. My husband. I'll keep him blood because that's purely just like an inside joke for our family. It's Matthews. Can't really see his face. Okay, we have tickets for tour.
I'd never been to the Scotiabank Arena before, so it was actually really nice being here, but I knew it was going to be pretty loud, so my husband and I were very quick and we ordered some Loop earplugs. We both got the experiences with the mutes, which are the little white bit, so that we could still hear everything really loud and really crisp, but it wouldn't be damaging our ears in the process. And to be quite honest, I looked kind of cute with them in.
But I knew in just a few short days I would be back in Toronto with the TNT.
It was incredible being in the same room and getting to watch some of my favorite wrestlers. I've been watching AEW wrestling now for a few years, and I absolutely just love everything that they do. I love to see how far the Jacksons and the rest of the team end up going and how far they end up coming, but it was just amazing to see. At the same time, there were a lot of really amazing legends who have since leaving WWE for whatever reason were then signed to AEW over the last few years, and these are legends that I never thought I would ever get to see perform live or ever see them live. And this weekend just proved that actually, you know what, I can do it, and it was so much fun and I loved it. It was just really immense to just be in the same room as some of these legends, from Jericho to CM Punk to Christopher Daniels, who you'll get to see a little bit later on, to see so much more of the women's division as well, even though that is an area, regardless of what wrestling company is out and about, is an area for all companies that they do need to work on. So I will always support the female wrestlers, but ultimately it's about the sport, it's about the fans, it's about being part of a community that is just super diverse and super cool and really funny, and it was just it was such a treat. It was a treat. I'm speechless. I can't really say anything because I'm still so excited about what I had just seen, but yeah, it was the best way to spend this particular Saturday. This is definitely one of the best date days or date nights that I've had with my husband to date. So we shall see. We shall see. Two are coming, so I'll have to see what happens at that point. Also, it was really great to see Christopher Daniels fighting. So, yeah. Overall, it was a fantastic night. I was very excited. And I basically didn't sleep for the next day because we were going to be back. Home time. tonight is date night 2. It's June 25th, and it was going to be the big one. AEW's Forbidden Door versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, not necessarily versus, because some of the fighters, the wrestlers, were kind of cross teams anyway, just depending on whatever storyline happened to be going on at the time. But boy, it was such a blast. I'm still excited about it, and I was even more confident knowing exactly where I was going. Unfortunately, Adam Cole wasn't able to attend tonight, so his match ended up being slightly changed. So that was a shame, because I'd been practicing my Adam Cole baby jumping thing like for at least a week up until that point, and I just didn't clock that he wasn't able to attend, so I had to keep that to myself. We had seen like the threats that MJF was giving Tanahashi the day before, so it was actually really nice to actually see their match go down today. So yeah, that was awesome. I personally thought that CM Punk's match with Kojima was actually really nice. There was a really good moment, a really sweet moment between CM Punk and Kojima where Kojima was down and CM Punk was like, let me just help you up so that we can walk around the ring together and celebrate together even though I've just beat you. I thought that was really good sportsmanship on CM Punk's part. So yeah. We still boo him, but I still love him. Now was the time for the biggest tag match of the night. It was wild, it was crazy, it was super cool, it was fun. I loved every second of it, and it was just great seeing the founders right there on the screen, the founders of AEW Wrestling, come out and do their thing. I'm not gonna lie though, because I've been religiously watching their vlog for a couple or so years now. The whole time that I was looking at their entrance, I was like, this better show up in the vlog. I was really excited about that. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. But this was who they were gonna be fighting against. And this is the Blackpool Combat Club. This is led by John Moxley, who is a wrestler that is dangerous, crazy, stupid, wild, all of those kind of adjectives and any other words to go along with that. Extremely violent. He's like one of those old school wrestlers who would come out with a hammer and a nail and hammer it into your head. Like, he's wild. But I was looking forward to this match because I'm still a huge fan of his and I still want to see what this storyline is going to continue developing. So, yeah. This was also a really huge match. Now, for those people who don't really know me that well, as far as wrestling is concerned, Kenny Omega is one of my absolute favorite wrestlers in the world. So when he got really injured just over a year ago, I was very sad because he wasn't wrestling. I was kind of mad about it. I also get a lot of body positivity from him because every time I look at him, I'm like, yeah, we got a similar body, except he just has more muscle than me. So it's, there's like a weird kinship there. And I just have a really deep appreciation for somebody with his level and his level of skill. And it's amazing. So being in the same room, watching this match between him and Will Ospreay, who's currently working with New Japan, was just another gigantic moment of the night that I think I'm just going to continue to relive these moments over and over and over and over again for as long as I live, because that was an amazing match. It was absolutely amazing. Breathtaking. I just have to point out, Will Ospreay is British, like me. Kenny Omega is Canadian. So, the beef. This part of the night was also really fun. This is where Sting and his protege Darby Allin were coming out to face Jericho in the ring. It was also really lovely to see Sammy Guevara fighting as well. And then on top of that, there was like a mini baby fan in the audience on the front row, this little boy who had like Darby Allin's face paint. He was so sweet throughout the entire match. In fact, a little bit earlier during Ospreay and Omega's match, when Will was doing what he was doing with the Canadian flag, at some point he ended up falling, and the little boy with Darby Allin's face paint was telling him off. And I thought, oh, that little boy is so brave. It was actually a really fun match to watch. I mean, you just have to listen to the crowd. Like, the chanting, everything. Like, Bryan Danielson from WWE, now to AEW fame, and then you've got Rainmaker from New Japan. Like, this was a match that so many people had been hoping to see, and there it is, right there. We could see it right here in Toronto. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And because we're old school fans, we all just kept chanting yes, which used to be Bryan Danielson's like theme or like famous phrase when he was with WWE. So we try not to do it, but we can't help it. We're fans of his. He's #1 in the world right now, and we were all just caught up in the moment. We didn't stay until the very, very, very end of the taping of that match, but we'd seen all the main performances, the main fights. We were really happy about that, and we just needed to try and see if we could get home. I had work the following day, and we hadn't really drunk that much that night. So when we got home, we finished off the night with a big old bowl of fruit. We drank some extra water and went straight to bed. Overall, it was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe it. Breasts and Eggs by Meiko Kawakami. I highly recommend this one. It took me like 2 days. I've also been reading this one very slowly on purpose because it's quite small, but there's a lot to it and I'm really enjoying it. The Bell and Deck by Matt Booker. I've had a long-standing chest infection for quite a while, so that's why I was reading that book at the doctor's office. If you've made it this far in my vlog, I commend you. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you all for having the patience with me. I'll see you all again, if not next week, then after that.